May we call on Madam Mariciana to lead us now in the Diaconia Asia Pacific Regional Meeting.
Yes, thank you for the beautiful meditation that we've just heard. And thank you for our participations in the devotion that was led by our sisters from the Philippines. We will now hear from our different associations that is present in this meeting. And if we can have representatives from the Philippines. I know that our sisters from the Philippines are in full force in this meet, and also the 4 presidents of the associations we have with us, and also together with the presidents we have some of the members of the board for the Diaconia Fields who are joining us in our meeting today. And also we have our sister from India and from Adelaide and New Zealand. Probably we'll go first and hear from our sister from India. We hear some updates from your organization in India.
So greetings to all of you. Thank you. First of all, I would like to appreciate the Diaconia of Philippines. They have done a wonderful job for bringing all of us together, and it's like a revival and refreshment, especially when I heard the dance song. It's like even in the midst of all the problems, war and all, we can pray and we can depend on the Lord and for his mercy. And also the fig tree analogy is so beautifully done. I'm very thankful for all dear sisters who prayerfully prepared this program. And I'm so happy to see the president, our world president here, Sandy Boyce. Congratulations, Sandy, for your new positions. Wherever you are, you're a blessing to those people and to us also. We are very glad and we praise God for what you are. And also for Marciana, thank you so much that I'm able to see you here. And we have a deaconess here also from India, Madhuraveni Jairaj. She's also working for a school as a manager. And we are 8 deaconesses in Hyderabad conference. From India, we have got 12 regional conferences. That is the annual conferences. And all these 12 conferences also, we have deaconesses in different numbers. And they are working as managers, principals, as evangelists, and some are doing social work, and some are doing like hostel superintendents. And their contribution is really great. But the sad thing is, we are not consciously, people are not seeing the work of the deaconesses. So they take things for granted, but nevertheless, we have not lost the spirit. And previously also, Emma and other deaconesses, Chita Framo, Manang Chita, if she was there, she used to come to India to empower us. And we used to come to Philippines for our training program. And we all used to join because leadership formation is necessary. So here in India, every 3 or 4, once in 3 or 4 months, the government officials, the top officials also will be given the orientation programs. They will be updated. So also we request that the deaconesses of India should have that kind of equipping themselves so that we will be used by the master and in the right situation and in and the situations where our presence is being felt. So that's what I was requesting to MIA Cantor also. So if any one of you have any training programs in your place or anywhere, please include our deaconesses so that we can send 1 or 2 representatives. And then, or you please, we also invite any one of you and all of you to India, please. So that we will have the exchange of program, because the diaconia takes place World Federation once in 4 years. And even in the DAP also, all of us cannot attend. But when we have these exchange programs, even if it is a Zoom meeting also, we will be encouraged by knowing the different kinds of work. So we are doing pretty good work wherever we are placed, irrespective of what salaries are paid and what facilities we are given. But there is a struggle for deaconesses in India. We request all of you to pray for that. And we want that we are, and Mother Aveni is with me in fighting these battles, that we want to show people that deaconesses are necessary, because according to the Bible, the 1st century, we see how deaconesses, the women worked who were doing the diaconal ministry. So that's what is our focus. We want to write articles, and then we want to talk to people and see, and we want to recruit new deaconesses also. So this is what I have to say. And we are working in the margins where we are very much necessary, even though not in the higher ups, but then our placement is there, and we are doing the diaconal ministry. And we are very thankful when we are attending this meeting. We are really excited, because once again, our spirits are rejuvenated and we can look forward. Thank you so much, President, for giving me this opportunity. Mother Aveni is also
Thank you,
there.
sister.
If she wants to say something, Mother Aveni. Mother Aveni, you have to unmute.
Hello,
Hi.
hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon. Hello.
Afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice to see you all. I'm very happy to see World Federation President and Diaconia President and all other deaconesses and Emma Didi and Chita ma'am and all the deaconesses from Philippines, New Zealand, Australia and Fiji. I'm really glad to see all of you. And today really I'm very happy. I'm overwhelmed to join this meeting with Savitaka from India.
Yeah, thank you, Mother Aveni. And I see Sala also. Sala, I'm so excited to see you. Great. Yes, over to you, President.
Thank you. Thank you, sisters from India. It's good to hear you and all the exciting events that is taking place in India and the challenging work that you are taking up there in India. We continue to pray and uplift you in our prayers. Yes, we will now move to Indonesia. Indonesia, I believe we have a sister from Indonesia with us.
Yeah. Yeah, Sister Merisiana.
Thank you. We'll hear from your side.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Today I am not prepare myself to talk about our diaconess from Indonesia, because this is the first time met in Zoom. So maybe later, sister. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Risma. It's good to have our sisters from Indonesia with us in our meet. Yes, we will have presidents from the Diaconia fields.
But actually, the update from the Diaconia Philippines will be coming from the four associations, member associations. So we have the United Methodist Church, we have the UCCP, United Church of Christ in the Philippines, the YEMELIF, and ang Iglesia,
AIM.
ang Iglesia Metodista sa Pilipinas. Let's hear from them the update of their activities and plan of actions.
Who will be the first?
Sige po. AIMP po. Alphabetical.
Manang Chita, hindi ka namin makita dito. Oh. Yung picture mo, Manang.
Saan ko?
Ate Claribel, nandito mo.
Anong pipindutin ko, Hana?
Video. Manang video.
United
Ate Claribel,
Ano po yun?
update po.
Update. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am Claribel Buenaventura from the Philippines. Deaconesses here in the province is quite a little different from the situations of deaconesses in the urban places. We are living in the province. To us, it's much easier to survive here. We experienced also the pandemic, but in the midst of the pandemic, we survived and trying to survive. I think the pandemic is not yet over, but we continue to provide programs that could uplift the financial and spiritual life of our people. Thank you for the programs of the Diaconia, which helped us in our struggle, especially those who are struggling financially. They've been given their portion of capital to help them with their struggles, especially women who are in the remote places. We also work with youth and children, especially those children who are considered as dropped out now because they did not go to school for some time. I think for almost 2 years now. We have cases here in our place. And also in AIMP, also in the part of Palawan, Mindoro, and Mindanao. So we are working on a program that will help these children. Children and women also who were displaced, families who were displaced. Most of them worked in the cities before, but they were displaced because they were sent home. They got nowhere to go because of this financial crisis in the Philippines. Our program continues as we work as deaconesses of the Ang Iglesia Metodista sa Pilipinas. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next po, Yemilis.
Yes.
Okay. I'm Deaconess Mirna Arakan, the president of Association of Yemilip Deaconesses here in the Philippines. Greet you all a blessed day. We are pleased to meet you all through the new technology via Zoom. Year 2021 is very challenging year for us here in the Philippines because we are not allowed to do activities in face-to-face. But God is good in spite of the situation. All of our activities was held via Zoom. Last year, January 8, 2021, we held our annual assembly with the theme #Beyond and Faithful and Blessed. And this year, last January 8, we also held our annual assembly with the theme Ethics in the New Normal, Blameless and Flawless. Our attendance is almost 150 deaconesses and JNMBs from different provinces. And in celebration with International Women's Month, last March 26, 2021, we held a webinar with the theme Transformational Leadership of Women in the New Normal. And this year, with the theme We Make Change Work for Women. In spite of the struggle in the internet connection, almost 157 deaconesses attended in this seminar. COVID-19 is a big challenge among deaconesses in the Philippines because most of us are infected, and I'm one of them who are infected with that virus. So we did a program, we called it Pass the Hat, wherein all of us, 8 members or Yemilit deaconesses, will give certain amount from their pocket to give a financial assistance to those who are sick, and most of them are confined in the hospital. And we have one deaconess died during the pandemic. Many of us extend our ministries through the community by putting up community pantries and giving ayuda or food assistance for poor barangay. Pandemic truly is a big challenge to us, but the grace of the Lord, we overcome it and continue serving God. That's all, and thank you. God bless everyone.
Let's hear from UCCP.
Hello. Okay ba ang sound? Hello. Good afternoon. So I'm Reverend Gilry Aguilanta Josa, overall convener of United Church of Christ in the Philippines, Women Workers Fellowship. I would like to share to you the life, work, and ministry of the UCCP Women Workers Fellowship. Because of COVID-19 and other challenges, this has been year of hardship, pain, year of illness, and struggle, leading to lockdowns and the need to stay at least 6 feet apart and to wear masks. There have been financial hardship also. However, we're being reminded that still we need to continue to do our part in facilitation and participating in various programs and advocacies. And in spite of the pandemic, we held a fellowship and bonding through Zoom on November 30, 2020 with the team, Babaeng Manggagawa Nagpapatuloy sa Paglilingkod sa New Normal, or working women workers continuing to serve in the new normal. Okay. So our guest speaker, was a woman bishop, Bishop Ligaya F. San Francisco. In her biblical theological reflection, she inspired and encouraged us to explore new approaches to stay connected and to care for others during this time of pandemic. It might be difficult, but we can do it. We need to be creative and resourceful. In our one day together, we heard each other stories, testimonies, and even our joys and pains. It was really a very meaningful experience. Then the second activity we have is about equipping church workers as healers and counselors to people in need. And when Jaconia Philippines with the United Methodist Women Asia Pacific sponsor a series of training webinar on mental health, a group of UCCP women workers from 3 jurisdictions, North, Luzon, and Middle Luzon, and South Luzon, participated. The training started from March 25 and ended on July 22, 2021. After this training, we cascade it in our jurisdiction. The first jurisdiction was South Luzon jurisdiction, which it has 9 conferences. We encourage to choose at least 5 participants in each conference to join the program and be trained as healers and counselors. We hope and pray those who attended this training will continue to cascade the program down to their conference, local church, and community. Then last August 10, 2021, we had a grand fellowship and the theme was mga babaeng manggagawa, sama-sama sa pagharap at pagtugon sa hamon ng panahon. Women workers together facing and responding to the challenges of the times. A group of about 81 women workers attended in this fellowship. Despite of the situation we have, this pandemic, some problems in the internet, still we successfully made this activity happen. We were blessed to have people fully engaged in all the activities, community singing, praying, orientation, games, then a short talk from Dr. Deborah Reyes, which continue to challenge us women workers to be responsive, hopeful, resilient in serving and doing God's ministry. Our own Jaconia President, Reverend Lilibet Tindero, share about her story, how the UCCP Women Workers Fellowship created. The concept behind was that as a woman worker, we have our own needs, concerns to be tackled. There is also the group where we can, this is also the group that we can enhance our talents and to express ourselves, be creative, and acquire new knowledge and skills. It was also explained that we are not making another organization, but instead, we are one of a subsector of United Church Workers Organization, UKWO. Then last December 9, 2021, we held our Sumustahan Christmas Fellowship. So our theme is pagsalubong ng Kapaskuhan sa panibagong kalagayan. So we greet Christmas even we are facing this kind of pandemic, but then we still celebrate Christ's birth. And then March 8, our president, Reverend Lilibet Tindero, invite the women for the celebration of International Women's Day on March 8. So different activities were held in different places. And then our country, we've been having our election. And then I would like to share this, what happened in our country, because um, now our country is very busy in preparing for this coming election. And then I would like to share to you one member, yeah, UCCP member, a government official. She is a mayor. Her name is Filipina Grace America. She's a member of UCCP in here in Infanta, North Quezon, and a member of NESCON Conference, Northeast Southern Tagalog Conference. It was so sad to heard that she was shot by unknown or unidentified person. But thank God that she's now safe and recuperating from the gun wound. Mayor Filipina Grace America was strongly opposing the building of dam in their place. As we know, if they build dam in their place, it may destroy our natural resources and it will endanger the life of the people. So, but then we've been inspired for from the life of Mayor Filipina, because she show strength, courage. So because of that, we as women workers, we need to be continue to be brave in facing different challenges, especially in our ministry, in our community, and even in our church. And now let us continue in prayer and service for God and God's people. I wish to acknowledge and extend my sincere gratitude to all women workers who are with us today. Mabuhay ang mga babaeng manggagawa. Long live women workers. With the guidance of our loving God, together we can grow, heal, achieve more. God bless. From reporting your co-worker in Christ, so Rev Gailry Aguilan Sarchosa. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then last is from UMC, Deaconess Sheila.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deaconess Sheila Faye Binuya. I will represent the United Methodist Church Commission on Deaconess Service. Allow me to give the updates of our ministry as UMC Deaconesses in a very, very short video presentation, only 3 minutes, MP4. Hannah, can I share my PowerPoint?
Yes po. Go on po.
Okay po. Just give me a minute. Let me share this. Wait. Okay. And then wait. Can you now see in your end?
Yes po, teacher.
Okay po. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, that's it. That ends our report and updates. And on behalf of the United Methodist Church Philippine Central Conference, Deaconesses, we'd like to extend our sincere gratitude to the Diaconia World Federation for the Dayak Aid program. Because of that, we'll be able to support almost 150 solo parents. We gave them relief aid last November 28, 2021. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless po.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the UCCP would like to extend our gratitude to the Jack World Aid for giving us the support and financial assistance to our pastors who were imprisoned. Two of them, Pastor Dan and Pastor Benji Gomez, was already released. And let's hope and pray that the other two pastors still in prison will be given their release in due time. Thank you very much and God bless us.
Thank you. Thank you for the exciting events that is taking place in the Diaconia fields. Thank you for our presidents from the Philippines Association. We hope that each one of us will learn from one another, and especially hearing the exciting events that is taking place in the DAP region. Yes, we will now move to friends from Australia.
Hello, everyone. There's Judy, Sandy, and I all on the screen there, all in Adelaide, South Australia currently. But I don't know whether you've just seen the news publicised that Sandy has a new job as Executive Officer, Victorian Council of Churches, and will be moving to Melbourne very soon. So congratulations, Sandy. It's wonderful to be able to connect with you all in this way of peace and encouragement, particularly when our world seems to be so much in strife at the moment, doesn't it? So it's wonderful to be able to gather in this way today. I'll just say a few things. I won't spend long. Several deacons in Australia have just been ordained, a couple here in Adelaide and one in Victoria. They work in aged care at the moment, and one's going to be working in congregations in a region. So our deacons work in a variety of placements, aged care, hospitals, prisons, and many of us actually leading congregations in congregational placements. So it's like being a minister because we're ordained, minister of the word that is, except we do this work through a diaconal lens, like through a different focus than ministers of the word. What shall I say? One of our other deacons here in Adelaide, Denise Champion, is an Aboriginal Indigenous woman, and she is a theologian in residence at our theological college, Uniting College, and she writes about how her culture stories, the Indigenous stories of her culture, can be seen through a Christian lens, or vice versa. The Bible stories can be seen through Indigenous lens. And I know that in the Philippines, you've done this as well. I'm not sure about other countries, but it's very exciting to see this, perhaps in New Zealand too, Anne. So I think that's all from us at the moment, unless Judy or Sandy would like to say anything else. Oh, just another thing. Thank you just for that a note about DICAID. I'm on the DICAID committee, and I'll relay that information back, you know, from the UMC and the UCCP to our World Diaconia Federation. We're having a meeting next week, and I'll relay your thanks to them, because we really want to get feedback to how the money's being used. Yeah, so we can keep on giving these grants and this money being used in worthwhile ways. So thank you.
Thank you, Krista. Judy, would you want to share something?
I never quite know how to work all these things, but there you go. I'm unmuted now. I'm not sure that I can add anything to what Krista has said, but I just want to, I guess this is an opportunity for me again, the richness of your stories and what you have shared today is just warms my heart that we can actually meet this way, seeing we haven't been able to meet in other ways for numbers of years now. And so I just want to thank you all and wish you all God's blessing.
Thank you, Judy. Just before we have Sandy, we'll move straight to New Zealand. I know Sandy has a few things to share with us tonight, but before Sandy, we will first move to New Zealand.
So as I introduced myself earlier, I'm Anne Russell-Brighty from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm a deacon in the Anglican Church. Our association in Aotearoa, New Zealand is very small, much smaller than for any of you. We're comprised people, mostly deacons from men and women, deacons from the Anglican Church, and a few from the Methodist Church. More than half of us are involved in parish work, a little bit like Krista has explained, in Australia. So our deacons do many different things, everything from chaplaincy to outreach programs, teaching children and pastoral care. One of the challenges, of course, over the last 2 years has been working out how we can worship and care for people while being in lockdown, being unable to meet in groups at different times. And how do we do this effectively? And from my own experience, I work in a community setting, with a food bank and a cafe, drop-in cafe, etc. And our primary goal has been to help people connect and come together and join and be a community together. And what do we do when people are no longer able to gather? This has been a big challenge for us. How do we still help people to feel they belong and help reduce isolation among people, which can be so damaging to their self-esteem and their self-worth and their soul? So that's been a big struggle for us. We are a small association, and we've had, as far as I know, no new ordinations in the last 2 years. One of you spoke about the work of deaconesses being sometimes invisible, taken for granted is the word I would have used sometimes. And it is certainly a struggle to not have it recognised for our own sake, but have it recognised so that new other people will hear that call of God to them and serve God in this way. So our prayer would be that you would pray for us. I think we have a lot to learn from you about the way you have managed to keep up your connections with Zoom. It's not something we've been able to do, and I think we could learn a lot from you on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. It's good to hear from Anne. And yes, just before we have our world president with us, we will fly back to Fiji and hear from Deaconess Sala.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's great to be back after a span of 10 plus years. And it's good to see familiar faces on the screen. I've just been invited this evening, so I don't have enough to share, but there's one thing that I'm so excited about, that in 2016, the Methodist Church in Fiji reviewed its constitution. And in that constitution, we have seen that the deaconesses have been given a better stand and opportunities to work with clergies, and of course, especially for areas of leadership. And that is an area that we have been deprived of, especially on the gender side of things. But we are glad that God has his own timing to do great things for the service that we render in the communities that we serve in. And I just want to share that we have about 40 working deaconesses within Fiji. Mostly about 70% of us work in schools, high schools and primary schools. And about 20% work in church departments and institutions. And just a few working within congregations here in Fiji. Yes, right now our main project for all the deaconesses in Fiji is just to look at, we have a deaconess house where we have our training, and also where all the deaconess, Fiji is quite a small place, so where we congregate and have our fellowships month. We have our monthly fellowships in, and it's a project that we try to maintain the place and give it a homely outlook, so that deaconesses may continue to come in and to share the work that they do with us. And I'm so thankful that I can share all these things in this, in this platform tonight. It is evening here in Fiji. Yes, and I'm glad to be part of this conversation tonight, and may God bless us all in the services that He has called us to do. Vinaka.
Thank you, Deaconess Sala. Yes, we will now hear from our world president, Reverend Sandy Boyce.
Thank you very much. And my grateful thanks to all those who have done presentations. The opening worship was led so beautifully and so well prepared. And to hear the different voices, it was beautiful. Thank you so much. And then to hear the work of your different associations is fantastic. And I just want to say what, in addition to what Anne said, the Philippines deaconesses have shown the way in this COVID time in running seminars and doing all sorts of things online. You are exemplary. We've been inspired by what you've been doing. So thank you so much. I've just put some notes in the chat. If you don't know how to use the chat, it's down the bottom. You click on chat and there's a whole lot of things over there. So I just wanted to say a few things, and you may have some questions for me as well. while we've been in COVID and lockdown and so on, the executive committee, instead of meeting once a year, has been meeting online once a month. And the only time we can all be online with, Mariciana in Fiji begins the day for us. And so the world turns. So when it's about, I think it's maybe 7:30 your time or 7 o'clock when we have our meetings. It's 5:30 for Krista and I in the morning, and late at night in Africa and Europe, and late morning, early afternoon in North America. But it's the time we can all get on together for an hour or an hour and a half. So each month we meet. We do the best we can with the time that we have. And I would say this has been the most productive time in all the time that I've been involved with the executive, because it's very intentional. We only have a limited time, so we must work hard in that time. So I wanted to let you know that's what we have been doing. I wanted to ask a question of you. So I'll tell you something first and then ask a question. So there is an e-newsletter that technically is sent out once every 2 months. It hasn't gone out since December last year. And there are reasons for that, but technically it's every 2 months. And every month is the Diaconia prayer letter. And we send it out at the start of the month and to be used all through the month. And different people write the prayer letter. I just wondered, can you just indicate, I'll get you to Philippine Deaconesses, will be right on top of this, but if you go down the bottom and on reactions down the bottom, you can have a thumbs up if you personally receive that newsletter. Right down the bottom, so thanks, Lilibet. Anybody else? Oh, okay, Anne, Krista. Okay, so Emma, do you get it? Yes, you do. Mariciana, so it is available to anyone to come direct to you and to your association. Anyone can receive it. And the newsletter is full of information. So once upon a time, we used to do, many of you will remember, a printed version once a year, and then we did an electronic version once a year, and Ulrika was the person who did most of the formatting for that. And then more recently, we decided to stop doing that and to do it once every 2 months. But that is our key communication. And if you're not receiving it, it's as easy as simply, she says, it's as easy as, I may put on Jan's email on the chat in a minute, and just emailing Jan and saying, can you put me on the e-news? Or go to our website and click on the newsletter there and ask to receive it. So I encourage you to do that. And the other thing is, DAP is often poorly represented when we do our newsletter because Jan, in formatting it, she's actually finishing that work. Somebody else will take it on. But in formatting it, she can only put together what she's received. So if there's nothing from your association, then it can't go in the e-news. It's not because we want to leave anyone out, it's because we don't have it sent to us. So if you're from your association, just remember, if there's something happening, you might think, well, who would want to know about this? But the fact you're running, the Philippines deaconesses are running online Zoom training sessions, doing all sorts of things. The rest of the diaconia world would love to know that you're doing that. So just value what you do. I'm telling you, feeding it back to you, you're doing awesome work. And the rest of the diaconia world would love to know about that. So be encouraged, and we'd love that story to be shared more broadly. So if there's anything happening at all, just let us know and we can include that. Krista is the person on the executive who makes sure that there are things uploaded from DAP. She'd love to hear from you, or to send it direct to Jan at this point. Are there any questions about that part of it? Okay, so yes, we still have some people on from India. We'd love to hear what's happening in India as well. And of course, we have other member associations in Japan and Korea and Indonesia. We'd love to hear what's happening there. So let's spread the word. DAP is probably the most diverse in language and geography of any of the regions. So it's very hard to stay connected. But one of the good things from the pandemic is we learned how to be connected in a way we've never been connected before, through Zoom and other ways. So please, we want to hear your stories, okay? During this time, Anne was part of a group working on a particular, well, Anne, do you want to tell the story about how those 10 committees were formed?
I think we took a brief that just talked about renewal, and I think it had finance as part of the title, and we were working on looking ahead, planning ahead for the worldwide diaconia. And out of that, mostly came from Deacon Ted, the idea that perhaps spreading the workload, spreading the involvement of people throughout the association, throughout the federation, would be more productive than just about anything else we could do. So we looked at the kind of work that the executive committee was doing, divided it up into a number, I think there's about 10 now, 10
Yes.
areas, such as DEC aid and communication and training, and it goes on. And then each of those has another small subcommittee and has representatives from right around the world. And so now, instead of a small as executive doing the work of the federation when it's not meeting, each of those subcommittees is tackling one area of our life together. And so a wide range of people from right around the world is now involved. Is that?
Thank you very much. So that has happened while we've been in pandemic mode. It just coincided. And so they've been set up. And just to let you know, Krista's already told you she's involved with DIAC Aid, and there will be more information coming out about what grants may be available and what the focus is. So Krista will keep us informed, and the e-news will keep us informed. So there's a justice committee. It was called social justice, but it was agreed to change that title because social means people, but the environment requires our attention. So now it's justice, because we need climate justice as well. And Emma is part of that committee. So there's people all around the world on that committee. A communication one, which hasn't met for some time, unfortunately, is one called Membership Connections. And I was interested in Sabita talking about where somebody's doing some training, let us know, because we'd love to connect with it. And the whole thing about membership connections of learning from and with each other, finding people who are doing common ministry together. So it could be a hospital chaplaincy that we connect people around the world working in that area, or prison chaplaincy, or we arrange an exchange of people from one country to another country to experience what their world is, and so on. So that's a committee. We are just in the early stages of setting up a committee for formation, that we have different ways of forming people for ministry, and to learn from each other what that is, and how we might benefit from that together. Another one on the theology of diaconia. So that's another committee. A new members one, that's who are we missing out on, deacons, deaconesses around the world and in our region. Are there groups like Emma? I remember when I was with you in Manila, there were those training people who came for training from Myanmar, but I'm not sure if they're training to be deaconesses or church workers or quite, women workers, but there might be. And I know somebody came to Australia who was from Vanuatu, and she was called a deaconess. So are we missing people who should be I'll rephrase that. Are we missing people who might like the opportunity to connect with Diaconia World? So Emma will be probably, of all of us, would know more about where the deaconesses are in Asia, and between Mariciana will know a lot about what's happening, and Sala in the Pacific region. There's finance. I'm sure you'd all love to be part of that committee. And there's one on philanthropy, raising money and so on. So anyway, there's a number. If any of them sound like, oh gosh, I'd love to be part of that, we'd love to hear from you. Just means you might have to be up, in the Philippines, either late at night or early in the morning. But anyway, so let me go on. So thanks, Hannah. I'll look at that in a minute. Just remind me if I forget. Last year, as you know, we were going to have an assembly in Darwin, and we had to cancel it, obviously. And that was very sad. We've done quite a lot of work on that and would have loved to welcome the world to Darwin. This year, we are looking at having a virtual assembly, so online, and it will be in October. So those dates will be coming out. And next year is technically the year that the regions have their regional assembly. We may or may not be able to meet face to face, may have to do exactly what we're doing now. In 2024, we're going to have another virtual assembly. And 2025, to be honest, who knows? We cannot make a decision on this, because if it's not the pandemic, and I don't want to go down too far down this path, but if it's not the pandemic, what's happening in Ukraine and Europe, who knows what's going to happen with that, and will it be contained? Will it leak over into Europe? We just don't know. So planning ahead for 2025 is something we will continue to monitor, but we can't make any decisions yet. We can't, unless we can all be there, people from right across our Diaconia world, unless we can all be there, there's no point in having it. We need to be together, or we'll do online. So let me just say this, I am coming to an end. What we're going to do for the assembly this year, we're going to set up a YouTube channel, and we are going to post all the videos that go with our online assembly. there will be some live sessions and there will be some recorded sessions, which means you can gather some of your people together and watch. You can have your own 2-day assembly at a time that suits you. So we'll be giving you more news about that. But one thing we want from you is we're inviting associations to, now who made that fantastic video of what they've been doing, the PowerPoint, animated PowerPoint. It was great. What we're looking for are some videos about each of the associations of the Federation. Tell us a bit about who you are and what you do. Could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If it's longer, we'll edit it down, but you can make it longer. And we'll post that and then have a shorter version. So all through the virtual assembly, we'll intersperse it with these videos about all our member associations. And we're also looking for each association to do a maybe 10-minute video that will serve as a kind of devotion, worship, and so on, just with I'll take that word away, with music in your tradition. It can be sung in your language, no need to make it English, sung in your tradition, and prayers. So no sermons, although I very much appreciated the fig tree. That was brilliant. So we'll be sending more information, but all of you from your member associations, we'd love for you to be participating in that. Is there anything else? I think I've said everything I wanted to say there. Did anybody have any questions, things they wanted to raise? Okay, and let me see what Hannah's put there. And a Facebook account for DAP and something we're posting some. Oh, okay, great. Okay, because all of that, we need to revitalize our presence so that we can do more sharing about what we're doing. And probably the easiest, and I know some of you use it a lot, is Facebook. That is a really, Facebook, Instagram, all those kind of things, but Facebook is a very useful sharing, and there is an account for DAP. So thank you for that, Hannah. Is there anything else? I hope that's all clear. Yes,
hello,
please. Hello, how are you?
Sandy.
Nice
Sandy?
to see you.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I am here at the Wesleyan University, Philippines, for a meeting. But I would like to ask that about the e-news. Maybe if you can put it where everybody can read, you know, even if the address, so that they can send it to you, to whoever is the editor, their news. I, for one, I don't know if Hannah or Emma received this address, or whom are we going to send our stories for the e-news?
Okay, so thank you very much for that question. I'm just seeing if I can. So I'll put my email, and because we can always pass it on, and Krista is Krista McGaw at Gmail. That's correct. Is it Krista? Krista McGaw at Gmail? Yep. So if you sent it to one of us, I think Jan Cherry. No, I won't give you Jan's because this is her last edition of it. And I don't know if you want to type yours just in case, but if people take a note of those addresses, and we can easily then pass it on to for the e-news. But thank you for asking the question, because it would be a shame not to share your great stories that are, you know, very different to, say, North America.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Yes.
it's really important you share your stories and we can celebrate together. Yeah.
Yes, and it is, and furthermore, with this email and with technology, you know, we can just press the button and then it will come out.
Yes. Absolutely. And the e-news, it means that in this electronic form, if you receive it, you can send it on to all of your people.
That's right.
And whether it's by Facebook for your own association or Direct Fields or whatever, you can send it straight on and encourage others to receive it directly. So
yes,
yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. Are there any other comments or questions? I think we're just keen that you all, what you're doing is both local, but it has a global importance, what you're doing. And if we can pray for you about, you know, what you're doing and holding you in prayer when certain key things are happening, you know, if you're holding your next conference or assembly, or let's pray for you. And many faithful prayers in Diaconia World, but if they don't know what you're doing, it's hard to pray. The DRE, so the Africa Europe region, on their Facebook, every week they have a different group, or so they pray for all the different member associations. They have a lot. Every week they'll name one, or they might name the president of DRE or the world president, but every week they're reminding people about who to pray for. And maybe that's something on the DAP Facebook we could be doing. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy, for sharing most of the news from the World Diaconia. I was just thinking, as you were talking about the prayer calendar or prayer newsletter, I know that the World Executive, we do take up that responsibility monthly. Probably it is something that we may need to talk about, whether it is possible that we have someone from each association to take up the responsibility.
It's certainly something to raise, certainly. Yeah. There's no reason it can't be done. Once upon a time, and Cheetah will remember this, once upon a time it was done by the president of World Diaconia alone. There would be a monthly prayer letter, but we changed that so that it became more broadly representative of all the people in Diaconia World. So rather than it being, you know, in my role as president that I do it only, now it's shared amongst the executive. But there's no reason why we can't extend that further. Yeah. So if any of you do want to write for the monthly prayer letter, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you for raising it.
Thank you,
Mary
Sandy.
Shannon. Hi.
Hi, hello.
Yes, I would like to follow up what you have just said about the prayer calendar. Could that be put on Facebook? Because everybody uses Facebook, and it's quite easier, you know, just to use the Facebook.
So the Diaconia World monthly prayer letter goes on Facebook, on the Diaconia World Facebook already. Yeah.
All right.
So if you're not part of the Diaconia World Facebook, please say you want to join. I monitor who joins. We've had lately a whole lot of people from the Middle East who want to join. So I'm declining all of them. I don't think they have deacons and deaconesses there. But just register your interest on Diaconia World Federation is what it's called. Send a note that you want to join and I'll approve it. But a lot of you I can see are already on it. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So Hannah, can you take note of that so that we can use it?
Mm-hmm. And once you're on, anyone can post. Yes, Hannah?
May I just share po that the Diaconia prayer letter every month given by our secretary, Madam from Germany.
Radi?
Yeah, yeah. Traude, yes. We always post it in the Diaconia Phil Facebook account. So we always share this. And one time I asked Ma'am Traude if how can we share a prayer letter? But I forgot the instruction. So thank you, Ma'am Sandy, for giving us again the instruction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we've had exciting events taking place in the associations that we are part of, and it's good to hear from one another. And also from our World Diaconia President of a few reminders for all of us. And the plan the World Diaconia executives have for World Diaconia. Just a few things that I have jotted down, and I hope that each one of us have heard and seen, and hopefully that we have also learned as it is taking place in the different associations, as had been shared previously by most of you, which can also be used or help us to better our work in the associations that we are in. One of the things gathered was ministry with others and with one another. That has been one of the exciting things that was shared to all of us today in this meeting. And also, we have also been reminded of the FB page for the DAP region. And we are thankful that our Diaconia fields are posting most of the events in that page. Yes, we have been reminded by Sandy concerning our news from the different associations and the addresses that had been given for us to use, whereby we can send our stories to. Probably just one or two things from my side, and that is one, just a reminder for the associations concerning our subscriptions to the World Diaconia. That is one, subscriptions to the World Diaconia. And two, I think we will be later reminded again if time allows. There has been a thought that there be a meet in Australia sometimes, and the plan is for us to once again look into our constitution, regional constitutions, which we can meet and help look into those regulations and the constitution. If this is confirmed, the DAP executive will once again remind us as to when we can meet in person in Australia, and hopefully we will be hearing more about this in the future. Yes, once again, I know that there has been some changes in terms of email addresses. If we can send our email addresses to either me or Krista or Anne, or to our world president in case of information that needs to be sent out. And also it is important that we also hear from one another. Yes, I will now give this time to Reverend Anne from New Zealand.
And can I just jump in before you start? Is that okay? I just want to say, for Mariciana spoke about the dues to World Federation, the fees. The system has changed, and it's important to know what that is. So they are asking for the numbers in your association for which you will pay world fees. It could be 20, 50, 100, whatever it is. And you need to let Trouty or Thorsten know how many will be paying fees, your association, and then they issue an invoice based on that number. And it's really important to send the number to Trouty, probably is easiest, but Thorsten, so that they can issue, because now we're based at Neuendettelsau in Germany. They manage all our finances, and this is their preferred way. Tell us ahead of time how many are in your association, then they'll issue an invoice and you pay exactly the amount that's due. Does that make sense? So I know it's a problem in DAP. I think Mariciana's being very diplomatic by not naming associations that haven't paid any fees, but it's not a good look in DAP. We have a lot of people who haven't, associations who haven't paid. Yeah. And we're the only in the other two regions, so DOTAC and DRE, they also have region for their region fees, but DAP has never had it. And given how difficult it is with finding money to pay, DAP has chosen not to be charging for region fees, but the world fees still need to be paid. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Anne. Sorry to interrupt.
No, Anne is wondering what she's supposed to be doing.
Oh. So
lost
think,
communication. Lost communication. Yeah. Sorry. What would you like me to do, Mariciana?
We'll accent to move a vote of thanks to our host tonight, and also to conclude our gathering. Okay. Our meeting.
I can do that. I have expressed right at the beginning of this time my deep gratitude that we have a chance to see one another. Here in New Zealand, and many in your places too, a lot of our communication is by masks. So you only get to see the eyes of people.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing how much we lose. And it is just very good to see your whole faces.
Yeah.
Even if we can't sit down and have a cup of tea together or a drink together or a meal together, which would be a good way to have communion with one another. But at least we can see one another, we can see our eyes, we can see our smiles. And I really appreciate that. So I would certainly move my thanks and suggest that we all take a moment of gratitude to God for this time together. Let's thank God. We thank God indeed for this time together, for one another, for the call God has made on each one of us to serve in the name of Christ in our troubled world. And we give thanks for the skill, the experience, and the commitment that's enabled us to be here with one another this day. In our church service, we always end with saying, go now to love and serve the Lord, go in peace. And so I would wish to conclude with that today. Let us go now to love and to serve the Lord. Let us go in peace. Amen.
Amen.
Amen and amen.
May I request, Madam Rishana, are you going to say some more? Because I'm going to request everyone to turn on their cameras so we can have a Zoom shot